So this man said that he found this Tesla card right in front of David's house this morning.
We are coming closer to the proof. The talking blocks, every breadcrumb, and every slip-up all point to David as the murderer. Then, right outside his cot, a Tesla key appeared, and everything changed. What they found out about that key, according to the police, alters the course of events. I'll explain. That shocking realization changed everything. On September 27, 2025, the internet exploded when a single Reddit post sent shockwaves through true crime forums worldwide. What started off as a casual visit to a house in the Hollywood Hills quickly turned into one of the most disturbing cases involving a young musician and the premature death of a teenage girl. One of the most extensively disseminated discoveries in recent history may provide crucial evidence. A Redditor, assuming the identity of an amateur, investigator found a Tesla keycard hidden in the gutter beneath leaves near the front door of David's home in the Hollywood Hills.
This Redditor actually went to the property and claims to have found his Tesla key on the floor, on the street, amongst the weeds, basically in the gutter. Very, very bizarre, right next to the property.
Captured in time-stamped photos at 8:15 a.m., the discovery would soon become the subject of a media frenzy that has captivated millions of people on social media. To completely understand the consequences of this significant revelation, however, we need to go thoroughly into the horrifying case that has rocked the music industry to its core. This is not just a lost car key. It is about the 15-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez's tragic death and the mounting evidence that links one of the most talented young musicians to the crime. From a professional standpoint, David Anthony Burke, or just David, seemed to have it all. At the age of 20, the American singer-songwriter made a name for themselves on TikTok in 2022 with songs like Here With Me and Romantic Homicide, which amassed hundreds of millions of streams. He was able to secure a record deal with Interscope Records and Darkroom thanks to the positive reception his low-fidelity R&B tracks received from millions of Gen Z fans. By 2025, he had over 5 million monthly Spotify users and cultivated a loyal fanbase on social media, particularly among youth. His songs often explored themes of love, heartbreak, and emotional distress by combining lo-fi, indie, and alternative R&B elements. The sad discovery of a Tesla key in a Hollywood gutter was the culmination of a darker story that was unfolding behind the dazzling achievements of this rising celebrity. The story begins not with the crucial discovery, but with a missing kid whose case had been unresolved for over a year. 15-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez of Lake Elsinore, California, has been missing since April 2024, when she was 13. The young girl's family claims that she was bright and driven, yet she simply vanished, leaving people close to her are desperate for answers. Because of the sequence of events that followed, this instance is particularly unsettling. It has been stated that Celeste and David had been communicating, with their conversations beginning when she was only 11 years old and developing into what many call a grooming relationship. It would simply make these charges more serious. Months later, during a routine examination of the impound lot, one of the most shocking discoveries in contemporary criminal history would be made. On September 8, 2025, in a Los Angeles impound yard, a very decomposed body was discovered in the front trunk of David's confiscated Tesla. 5 days earlier, the Tesla, registered in Texas, had been reported from the upscale Bird Streets neighborhood, abandoned neighborhood in Hollywood. A homicide investigation quickly developed from what lot staff initially believed to be a technical issue when they detected a foul odor emanating.
We also know that the car had been abandoned on that street in the Hollywood Hills for at least 3 days before it was impounded. We've also spoken to neighbors in that area who said that there were people who had walked by the car and had noticed a bad odor, and that they kind of thought it was either a dead animal somewhere, either under the car or near the car.
What was actually revealed was as shocking as it was unexpected. The discovery of human remains in the front trunk, specifically a head and torso in a bag, indicated that the person had been dismembered and was in a badly decomposed state.
It's when they opened that front hatch on the Tesla and found the bag with the body parts.
And they call that the frunk, if I'm not mistaken, in the front of the Tesla. It's like the trunk in the front.
22. According to the condition of the remains, the dead had been trapped in the enclosed, heat-exposed front compartment of the car for a few days or more during the warm September weather in Los Angeles. The victim, Celeste Rivas, was officially identified by the Los Angeles County Medical Examiner's Office on September 17, 2025. Hernandez. Identification became challenging due to the decomposition, but forensic analysis, which included dental records and a distinctive tattoo on her finger, confirmed the identification, which was crucial information in establishing the victim.
We had some of them because the police did say that she had this tattoo, which is very interesting, something we found out, but she had a tattoo on her right index finger that said the letters SHHH ...
14. Even more horrifying is the location of this discovery. David was not physically present at the scene or arrested in this instance. The car had been seized without his apparent knowledge when he was on an out-of-state trip. Sources in law enforcement claim that David owns multiple vehicles. They are often used by various people in his social circle, which makes it more challenging to immediately place responsibility. An unsettling web of connections between the young artist and his alleged victim would be revealed by the subsequent investigation. There have been other disturbing rumors about relationships, including Rivas's mother telling TMZ that her daughter had been dating someone named David when she went missing in April 2024. This was a perfect match for David's given name, even though there was no official evidence of a romantic relationship at the time. Of all the tattoos discovered during the investigation, the matching ones were perhaps the most disturbing. Rivas and David were found to have the same sheesh tattooed on their right index fingers by pictures that circulate online and are featured in multiple media. This material demonstration indicated a close bond that went beyond simple acquaintance. Further questions concerning the chronology of events are raised by looking at the circumstances surrounding the vehicle's abandonment. In early September 2025, the Tesla was confiscated after being left in the Hollywood Hills. Given that the decomposition suggests Celeste died not too long ago, detectives would need to fill in the gaps to ascertain how and when the crime was committed, because the exact time range was still unknown. Once news of the discovery spread, the public's reaction was swift and explosive. There were severe and immediate consequences for one's career. David was forced to confront harsh criticism, and Hollister and Crocs both took down their promotional materials that included him as an ambassador. On September 17, 2025, famous co-workers began to turn away from Kei Uchi when she said that she was taking their collaboration song down from internet servers. But the story was not yet complete. As the investigators dug as the investigation developed, more disturbing details about David and Celeste's relationship would come to light, setting the stage for the turn of events. They found a simple Tesla keycard in a Hollywood gutter that might provide the final pieces of this horrible jigsaw, the crucial discovery that led to the internet's demise. When the sun rose on September 27, 2025, a startling discovery was made at precisely 8:15 a.m. by a Redditor with the handle Throwaway Sleuth 42 PDT that would shake up the scene of a real-life crime. One of the most significant pieces of evidence in the ongoing investigation into Celeste Rivas's death quickly emerged from an exploratory visit to David's Hollywood Hills. Residents to observe.
This man said that he found this Tesla card right in front of David's house this morning. He said, "I live pretty close to David's place and I just wanted to go check out the area and ended up finding this Tesla key right in the gutter behind some leaves."
It was an unexpected and potentially significant discovery. In the gutter, directly in front of David's house, the black Tesla key fob was found shining out from under leaves. Being careful not to encroach on private property, the Redditor had approached the area from the public walkway and stated that they lived reasonably close to David.
Literally right in front of his house this morning. I live pretty close to David's place and I wanted to just go check out the area and ended up finding the Tesla's key right in the gutter behind some leaves. Just spotted a Tesla letter shining out from under the leaves.
It is impossible to overstate how important this discovery is. Celeste's body was found hidden a few feet from David's house in a Tesla, and this key was for the precise model of the vehicle. The timing instantly sparked questions. For what reason is this key hidden in such a noticeable location? What role does its existence have in understanding how Celeste's body entered the Tesla that was seized?
Where he is saying he found this is like really sketchy to me. And now I feel like it's leaving us with more and more questions that we've already had since the beginning of this whole entire thing. To me, it seems like somebody purposely put this Tesla card for whatever reason into this hole and then maybe covered it with
Online communities were swiftly incensed by the finding and the consequences of finding the key so close to David's house. People began making assumptions about why the key would be hidden there on Reddit and other websites. Critics said it was evidence of panic, dropped in a hasty attempt at disposal perhaps. Others hypothesized that it might have been planted as evidence on purpose. But given the circumstances, this seemed unlikely. The revelation becomes even more significant when one understands how Tesla...
Interesting though, is that I have a Tesla and he wouldn't be using his key card. Everyone uses their phones with the app as their key. The only time I use my key card is when I'm letting someone else use my car. Otherwise, I never carry it because my phone is my key. Makes me think someone else was driving his car, if that is his, or that he didn't want to bring his phone and be tracked. Anyway, it's crazy that you found...
This technological revelation made the riddle much more difficult to understand. When allowing others to use their automobiles, Tesla owners typically use the Tesla app on their phones as a key instead of real key cards. According to the physical key card, either David deliberately decided not to use his phone for tracking, or someone else had been given access to the car. Immediately, the Redditors' handling of the evidence caused controversy within the genuine crime community.
People saying you need to turn that into law enforcement ASAP. This could be critical evidence. Also, avoid touching it as there could be fingerprints on it. Handle with care. Even if this isn't key, it's someone's key as well. Either way, it should be handed in to the police. People saying, I can't believe you covered it with you touched it with your finger.
The criticism was severe and swift. The Redditor may have contaminated crucial evidence by handling it with his bare hands. Fingerprints, DNA evidence, and other trace elements may have been compromised by the negligent handling of what could have been a crucial piece of evidence, according to forensic experts. Proof in a homicide case. The Redditor agreed with community recommendations to contact law enforcement despite concerns about contamination. Using a screenshot of the call log and an explanation that they had forwarded the keycard to the police for processing, they detailed their call to the LAPD non-emergency number in a follow-up article.
So, this key was provided to the LAPD. The person who actually allegedly found the key claimed that they had contacted the LAPD for an investigation into the thing. It said, this is my call to the non-emergency line to reaffirm that I provided every detail and piece of information leading up to what was uncovered. My fingerprint won't distract the evidence. I was reassured. I will provide any updates if I'm informed of anything else, but the card is out of my hands now. They gladly took it in.
The key was collected as evidence by the LAPD, despite concerns about potential evidence manipulation. Despite the Redditors' lack of tampering charges, the incident brought hazards of amateur detective work in ongoing criminal cases. Some questions about police investigating procedures were raised by the discovery's location.
I don't understand is how the authorities missed this. Wouldn't they have done a proper search in and around the confines of his home? From what I remember, the Tesla wasn't parked far from his home either, so it bugs me how a random Redditor found it but an entire search team didn't.
It sparked broader questions about the thoroughness of the first police investigation. If a casual visitor to the area could discover such a crucial piece of evidence, what did that say about the early search procedures? Had investigators been so focused on the house itself that they failed to notice obvious evidence in the nearby neighborhood? Additionally, the timing of the discovery generated intriguing questions. The weather report said that Los Angeles had not witnessed. Although it had rained the previous evening, rain had been falling for months prior to the key's discovery. According to some theories, the rain may have washed the key into a more conspicuous place, or possibly disturbed the leaves that had been concealing it, making it detectable for the first time since it had been hidden.
The whole situation about the car is just really confusing to me. At the end of the day, it just leaves me with a lot of questions.
The significant discovery actually created a lot more questions than it did answers. Why was the Tesla key placed near David's house instead of being kept with Celeste's body? Had it been deliberately hidden so that no one could reach the car? Was it dropped as a final attempt to get rid of proof? Or was the explanation more complex, involving multiple parties and a wider scheme? With the key going through official evidence channels, investigators now faced a new piece of the puzzle that could offer crucial clues about Celeste Rivas's death and how her body ended up in David's Tesla. But the story was not yet complete. However, the important discovery was just the beginning of a much larger and disturbing pattern of evidence that would continue to emerge. The body of evidence that points to homicide. The finding of the Tesla key was shocking in and of itself, but authorities and online detectives faced a much more difficult and disturbing puzzle, been working on for weeks. The entire amount of the evidence began to take shape, creating a disturbing picture of what could have been a well-planned crime that was ultimately exposed due to amateur mistakes and digital breadcrumbs left across multiple platforms. Already, the investigation had shown a highly alarming pattern of behavior that extended well beyond the one they found the Tesla key in the gutter. David had been communicating with Celeste since she was 11 years old, according to evidence recovered by digital forensics, showing what appeared to be years of grooming behavior. In 2022, screenshots of David's Discord server displayed conversations between the singer and a user named Celeste. There were serious questions regarding Celeste and David's connection from the beginning, as they reportedly began communicating online when they were 11 and 12 years old, respectively. There is evidence that what began as fan interactions evolved into something much more inappropriate and potentially criminal, and reports indicate that the conversations grew more heated over time. The timetable. It becomes even more unnerving when you look at the physical evidence of their connection. Given their alleged secret relationship, it takes on a sinister connotation that Celeste and David both wore similar bands on their right index fingers. Although it might be interpreted as a sign of keeping secrets, the tattoo communicates a level of intimacy and shared experience that is well beyond casual. A friend. Perhaps the most alarming of all were David's own cryptic comments about his creative ability, which were captured in a resurfaced interview in which he laughs about investigating murders he had committed.
Basically, an agent of chaos and kind of my alter ego, and the story of the manga went like I was a detective and there was an evil version of myself that would kind of come out at random moments, kind of like Fight Club with Tyler Durden. And he would commit the crimes that I would have to solve as the detective. So like when I was as the detective, I'd be like solving murders that I'm committing myself. And it was like a cool little story. I didn't think anything would come of it.
Case. Celeste is notably mentioned in the lyrics of David's 2022 hit song, Romantic Homicide, which talks about violence and body disposal. At the time, the song's lyrics about murder and body concealment appeared like works of art, but today they seem like potential predictions. The music video for that tune draws striking parallels to the actual murder scene by depicting instances where bodies are dumped in car trunks. A far more immediately incriminating demo track was released and discovered in December 2023. With references to tattoos and obsessive devotion, the song's lyrics explicitly express love for a person named Celeste. With the words, "Oh Celeste," the girl with my name tattooed on her chest, read alongside it, it assumes a really disturbing meaning. Concrete evidence of their matching tattoos. During the investigation, additional layers of digital evidence were discovered, painting a picture of methodical grooming and control. Celeste would have been 13 or 14 years old in 2023-2024, when pictures and videos of David with a teenage girl who matched her description surfaced. These images of David from his allegedly private Discord server or social media accounts showed despite the significant age gap and her status as a child, they were depicted in affectionate poses that suggested a romantic partnership. David's close circle and the greater community were also charged with grooming. Despite being aware that Celeste was young, screenshots purportedly showed members of his Discord server discussing her as his girlfriend. This suggested a framework of deception and assistance that allowed the inappropriate connection to continue without any action being taken. It becomes crucial to consider the timeline of Celeste's disappearance while examining the evidence of criminal intent. Her body's decomposition suggested that, despite being reported missing in April 2024, she passed away rather quickly, perhaps months after her first kidnapping. This disparity led to questions about her whereabouts during the preceding months and what there were factors that led to her death. Geographic information indicates that David lived close to Celeste's home at the time of her disappearance. Less than a third of a mile from Celeste's family's home in Lake Elsinore is where David was photographed by TMZ in April 2024. This placed him close to where she vanished at the critical moment. Additionally, the investigation revealed concerning patterns in David's online behavior during Celeste's was not present. A social media study of 2024 shows that he kept touring and releasing music, including posts that some people interpreted as a connection to her disappearance. Even though he may have known about her passing, this apparent normalcy raised concerns about his mental state and level of involvement. In terms of time and approach, the Tesla itself provided crucial forensic evidence. Of the infraction, the car was taken for unpaid fines in early September 2025, indicating that it had been abandoned for a considerable amount of time. The advanced decomposition of the remains, which indicated they had been in the car for several months, made it difficult to determine when the murder was committed. and how long the evidence had been hidden in plain sight. The relatives of Celeste provided more background data to support the prosecution's argument. Her mother informed investigators that her daughter had mentioned dating a man named David, which clearly linked the victim and suspect. The family accounts described a vulnerable adolescent who had been removed from her support system and forced by an older predator. David's general pattern of behavior toward fans who were underage became a crucial part of the investigation. Celeste may not have been the first young girl to come forward with allegations of inappropriate behavior. These other claims did not highlight a single instance of poor judgment, but rather a pattern of predatory behavior. Finding the Tesla key was the final concrete piece of evidence that might connect all of these elements combined. Detectives would have a direct physical link between David and the crime scene if they could demonstrate that the key was used to get into the vehicle where Celeste's body was found. Given the key's proximity to his house, it was possible that it was disposed of in a panic or that evidence was purposefully hidden. Furthermore, the case exposed broader organizational flaws in protecting vulnerable children from online predators. Despite the worries of family members and the obvious awareness of inappropriate activities in the fan group, it seems that the grooming behavior remained undiscovered for years. This generated discussion on the duty of record labels, social media platforms, and other entertainment companies to protect children from exploitation. On September 18, 2025, David had not any formal accusations of any crime related to Celeste's death. Nonetheless, the circumstantial evidence became stronger due to the increasing amount of evidence. Digital data, physical evidence, geographic evidence, and witness testimony all combined to demonstrate a well-planned but ultimately badly executed crime. Beyond a piece of evidence, the Tesla key discovery was more. It demonstrated how even well-planned crimes can break down due to small mistakes, and the perseverance of determined detectives, both professional and amateur. This little key card found in a Hollywood gutter may prove to be the piece of evidence that, as the investigation goes on, brings Celeste divers justice. If you enjoyed this video, you can view more relevant content by clicking on one of the boxes that is playing.